All right, guys, just checking that you can hear me. If you're there, just shout out that you can hear me if you don't mind, please. Alrighty. Alright, so I wanted to go through and talk to a few things that are going on at the moment out there in market land. So I just let a couple of people jump in here first. Get a couple of people in, and then we'll go through it a little bit. What do we got here? We just got a bit of a sell-off coming through. Yep, okay, that is that. All right, cool. Hang on just 1 second. Let's do 1.7. No, we'll just go 1.5. Okay. Alrighty. A couple of people coming in now. Excellent. Quote expired. Please request another quote. 1.4. There we go. How about that? All right. So we have got a few of you in here. Okay, cool. So I want to go through now and have a look at this market. So I'm just trying to, from that to that. Why isn't that not working? Trying to hedge myself a little bit here on this move at the moment. Conversion successful. Right, I think I've done. There we go. Goody. Okay, I've had a couple of issues actually today. Sending from BitMEX across to FTX. Has anybody else had that issue? Has anyone had any issues with that? I'm not that pleased by it, and when I get off of this, I'll be going ahead and checking that out. But this is about more than just looking at Bitcoin. Okay, so we're looking lower at the moment, and I want to show you a couple of things to point out right now. If we look at our market, when I say our market, sorry, I should be talking to everybody here. The ASX 200 right now closed bang on the nose, 5,000. That's pretty heavy. You know, that's down nearly 10%. It's its biggest down day in this carnage that we've been seeing thus far. And I've been talking to my olds that are retired. They got some money in their super, and I've been trying to help them I've been trying to get them defensive for the last 12 to 18 months. They haven't listened to much of it. So I've been pushing a little bit hard, and I want to show you what some of your options are. Look, with this pandemic going on, we do, sorry, here we go, charts and me. With this pandemic going on, we do have an issue in the sense that we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to unfold. We have no idea at all where this is going to end up. It's driven by a lot of uncertainty and fear, and that's what drives markets. You know, when people are uncertain, they're usually fearful. And when people are fearful, well, the first thing they do is they sell off. Now, I know we saw some massive falls on Bitcoin. We also saw some massive falls across pretty much all markets. If we look at global indices, this market popped up, the S&P 500. Now it's back down in pre-trading. That's the futures price there. I think that looks very delayed. I think it's probably come off a little bit more, but we have seen a lot of carnage out there. And can I see it going further? Well, let me show you something quickly on the monthly here for the ASX 200. This was the GFC. Okay, this was the GFC here for the Australian market. Big fall, pretty much the same. All right, big fall there, the same as what we're going to see over here. Now let me take you through and show you this one. Okay, so this one over here, this was the GFC for the S&P 500. It went a little bit deeper, but not by very much. Now let's look at the upside. So from that low to that high, 400%. What caused this? Well, a lot of printing of money. It's called quantitative easing, and the US has just announced another 1.2 trillion, I think it is, and it looks like it's going to continue, which is going to make things even more interesting because it's there to prop up markets, and therefore, again, that's like, well, what does that mean for the dollar? You're just printing it out willy-nilly, and that's what the case was for Bitcoin, right? Now, Bitcoin's not held its ground, which is a bit disappointing actually, because last week I was sort of looking at it going, well, it had held its ground, it was looking quite good. And, throughout this period here, it was holding Global markets were falling heavily. All we needed was to stay up here for one more week. I think we would have been looking very, very good as an alternative investment vehicle. Now, of course, we have seen that come off since 45% in the day. Yeah, don't say you're not. You were shocked, because this is the most volatile market in the world, and that's why us traders love it. Crypto cradle trade right there. I didn't take it. I know some did, and some did very, very well. So what do we do now? What's the case for being for a higher Bitcoin, and what's the case for a lower Bitcoin? Well, the case for a lower Bitcoin is that people will be moving out of everything to cash, cashing out, looking to consider their longer term, medium to longer term positions. Sorry, I just wanted to see, just while this is moving, I'm looking at sorry, I'm sort of talking to you at the same time the markets are moving, and I've got a level on here. Okay. Yeah, so people are that hedge I just did a second ago was looking pretty darn good right now. Whew. But that's a bit of a shame I can't get the Bitcoin off of BitMEX to further hedge. Anyway, okay, so yeah, so what's the case for bullish Bitcoin? Well, the case for bullish Bitcoin is, what if we are to see a further run on the markets? And I do believe we will. I'm not talking about crypto, I'm talking about traditional markets. I think we will see a larger move to the downside. I really, really do believe that. I think it's really prime for that. We've got so much uncertainty out there right now. Look, I've been through this before, not a pandemic, but I traded through the GFC, so I do have some experience in this, and I know how to do well. Now, the strategies haven't changed at all since then either, by the way. The way that I trade hasn't changed at all, not in the slightest. But let's go back. I want to go back to Bitcoin here. Actually, leave that there, through that there, go back to the daily. So what's the case to be built for higher Bitcoin? Well, let's say that the traditional markets continue to fall, and I believe that's what we're going to see. Okay, it's highly likely with the amount of uncertainty. I mean, the US just came out to zero interest rates. Again, I think they've overcooked that. Wait a few more days. They're out of bullets. The gun is empty. Then what are they going to start karate chopping people now? I don't but I'm not I'm not one of the guys in the Fed, right? The bullish case of Bitcoin is the markets continue to fall, the pandemonium continues, the fear continues. We see, for example, Bitcoin really came into its own light at around the time when Silk Road was there to buy illicit substances. Well, what if we see a black market in things like toilet paper? I know it sounds stupid, but it could happen. That could be a currency for that, therefore driving Bitcoin's price higher. The second thing that could also drive Bitcoin's price higher is if we do see the banks doing a withdrawal freeze. If they have a limit on withdrawals and they want to kill cash and they don't want us to take our money out of the banks because a run on the banks would mean, well, it would all go. Now, they did this back in the GFC. Many banks stopped money from being withdrawn in certain amounts. So they don't want us to have cash. We know that. If that is the case, then Bitcoin becomes a true currency for us as the people. That's a bullish case of Bitcoin. The bearish case for Bitcoin is that everyone flies out of the markets, tries to go to cash to pay for their mortgages, their bills, this sort of thing. And that's what we need to be aware of, and that's what we need to be careful of, and that's what we need to be thinking of. Now, with crypto, how do we hedge ourselves? How do we look after what we've got? Here's one way. We can go to Tether. We know that we can go across to USDT or True USD. There's options there into crypto tokens like that. There are some options out there beyond that as well. I do trade with FTX, and this is, have a look here. So this is, oh no, that's not the right one. It's over here. This is a recent contract. Now, I know it's not just like more brokers or more platforms, not brokers, exchanges have this contract than just FTX. But I wanted to show this to you. This is gold. Now, if I just show you the price, 1551, and go across to non-crypto, go up to gold here, 1540. And this is on a delay of, I think, 20 minutes, I believe the delay is, or something like that. So it's more or less on point, yeah? And look, I know, you look at this daily chart, it's been coming off. There's no doubt about it. But that's a 10% or 11% move from its high to here. It's holding its ground a lot better than something like Bitcoin has been. So we do have options to keep our crypto within crypto, but to have it in more stable asset classes. And I want to challenge you to start considering what your options are. Because I watched people in 2017 not get out when the market went racing up. Okay, they thought it was going to continue going up and 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 up, and then it came down and down and down. It was always going to bounce, and it did a little bit. Bitcoin did anyway. But they weren't thinking for management of risk. They were thinking with greed of reward. I challenge you to consider yourself and respect yourself a little bit more than that. Start to think about what traders would do, what options you've got, and what suits your risk parameters. I am doing that. I'm doing that right now. As a matter of fact, I just did a video out to my free subscriber base just then, pointing them in a couple of directions to try and help them to make those decisions themselves. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not my gig. I teach you. I teach people how to trade. That's what I do. But like on platforms like this, more than happy to try and help them point in the right direction. My objective has always been to help other people in this endeavor that I do as a trader, and that doesn't change at all just because we've got some crazy stuff going on. As a matter of fact, it means more now because more people I think are going to be listening and watching. The big deal is that I think right now is it's highly likely that if you are not already at home, working from home or in quarantine or whatever you want to call it, you're probably going to be. You've got an opportunity in the next couple of weeks / months to really knuckle down and learn something. You know, what's the excuse to not learn something? Now, I'm not just talking about trading here, by the way. I'm talking about anything. You're going to have you're going to have the time, unless you've got kids, in which case you're going to have a lot in your hands. So am I. But people are gonna have the time to be able to sit down and go through things. Think about what options you got. Think emotionless. We've got tools for that. It's not easy to do, but you've got to focus in on that and start to think not just sort of all on black. Don't think, oh, well, if it's all gone, it's all gone. Or if it goes up, it goes up. Don't think like that. Start to think like a professional. Start to think like someone who's managing their portfolio. And if you do that, you'll see there are options still available. If you don't know what they are, keep your eye to the ground and subscribe or click the whatever button you need to so that you get these lives that I do, because I will be doing more. And just be safe and sensible, guys. Be safe and sensible. Opportunities lie right now where we are. Volatility is what we love as traders. And trading, am I still doing it? Yeah, I'm just waiting for my options, right? Look at that for a quick pullback. That just moved 985. I mean, let me show you from that breakout point. I mean, that's like a 7% move in the space of half an hour, less than half an hour. We're in the right place, guys. You just need to know what to do within those markets, and more importantly, how to keep yourself safe. So guys, I'll keep doing these more and more. Well, it's basically when I can get to the office, and that is dependent on weather, because I'm going to walk in. I'm not catching the train anymore. I'm just being safe. I'm being sensible. I'm not being over the top. I'm looking after myself and my family, being safe and sensible, and I want the same for you. I also want you to prosper during this period if you can do. Take care. Hang on to what you got, and I hope you're well. Cheers.